Hello everyone and welcome to another of my videos on Dungeon Crusher Soul Hunters. It's been quite a while since I've made any videos and I decided that I needed to make a couple more after a short break of me just really not doing a lot of playing. Just took a break over the summer and some of the fall. I play casually now. I don't play as hard as I used to, but I can still make some videos. And during my absence, I've had a couple people request some different videos, so I am going to do that now. The first request I have is over runes. Okay? And so we're going to scroll down here a bit and find the runes. Alright, so here's the runes. The most common rune you get from the Black King chests and from the Super Black King chest, the 55 billion and the 110 billion and medium rune chest and whatever, the most common are these down here. These ally runes, the hunter runes, and then these red runes, the buff runes. And so for ally runes, they do all kinds of things. Basically, they all do about the same thing here, but it changes based on the ally. Okay, so there's ones for everyone. This one in particular is undead, human, goblin, gnoll, elf, and so forth, dwarf. And so basically what that does is opening, it's got a 100% chance to raise that person's attack, wisdom, agility, and defense by 10% if a dwarf is among the allies. So your team, if your team has this race, then that's what you get. So that's, they're okay. I mean, if you don't have a lot of runes, those are okay to get. You know, they could be pretty beneficial, especially if you have whatever it is that is in there as one of your heroes. Okay, so here, if you had Bianca in yours, you'd want to put the dwarf allies. If you had this, you'd put an insect ally. You know, human ally. Various miscellaneous ones. This one is humanoid, beast, and if you scroll down to the some of the other ones you can use. So there's one for avatars. You could, or angels. There is one for avatars. I don't remember who the avatars are. But there are those, and then there's ones for gods. There are ones for undead. You saw that one. Elves, dragons, miscellaneous things. You know, if you're running a human deck or an elf deck, you can put those in there. Just however you're really wanting to put it. There's one for Aeneos. There's one for voids. I'm sure there's one for tree folk. Void, there you go. There is one for constructs, titans. But anyway, demons. So you can craft them. I mean, you don't craft them, but you can adjust them to however you want them in your list. I didn't realize the king was undead. Interesting. So anyway, that's what you do. But the first thing you need to figure out is you need to have your character up to godlike rarity before you can add runes onto them like that. And so once you get them there, let's see if I can find somebody that doesn't have any runes on them. Probably not. Oh, here we go. So then what you do is you just click on that like there, and then you just put whatever rune you want in there. Let's just throw that one. Here, we'll put this one in there. there. If the enemy team include, oh well, hold on. Just because I was showing it, we'll do that. So if the enemy team includes a goblin, I mean a dwarf, or the allied team includes a dwarf, then you get a 10% bonus. But then these ones, these are the hunter runes. So these are for the enemy team. So if your enemy team includes a titan, you get a 10% bonus. Now the other thing I do need to show you while I'm at it here is you can no longer have two of the same rune in your selection. So you can see here, I can't put a second one of those in there. Cannot insert two identical runes on the same hero. They made this change last year sometime, which was because some people were putting some incredibly powerful ones in there, and they were putting multiple ones in there, and it was just destroying the game. And so that's why they did that. And so then you have these hunter runes, which we already went over, and then there's these runes which add attack or defense or wisdom or agility or HP. And so as you can see, they get increasingly bigger and better as they go up. So this is by 200, 1,000, 500, 250, 125. So these are good for starting, especially for like beginning, having like Ophaniel and LG. People on server 12 are calling them Iggy. And these HP by 40%. So those two are good to have for starting out if you can get them. And then up here, these are the most hated runes that you can get, because you can see I've got lots. And what are they? They're hatred! Oh yes, so they add hatred to your guy. It's okay, but the problem with hatred is it only gives hatred of one class, and then it depends on the week, you have to switch them out. And most of the 230s already have a hatred in there, and they don't stack. So if your guy already has hatred of goblins, adding this hatred of goblin rune is not going to help any. Okay. You also have these weakening ones. Weakening ones are good. So what weakening does is every time you hit the opponent, it takes away some of its ability to use guilds. I don't know exactly what percentage. I think it might be 10%. Every time it attacks, it takes away 10% of its bonus from guilds. So it is pretty good, and it's good to have starting out. And then immunity against debuffs. This is one of the better ones that most people put on pretty much all of their guys. So anytime that their opponent tries to use a debuff against you, then this protects against that. So some instances of silence, some instance of cursing like that, decreases, things like that. Most of these are debuffs, and so it helps against that, and weakening as well. Then we get into some of these other ones. This is specifically what this person who requested this video asked about. So immunity against devouring, okay, and then burn damage and decay and shape-shifting immunity. So these four here, I don't use a whole lot of those. You're going to use some of these, like burn, in your main map deck, because some of the creatures have burn. Some of the map fights, the boss fights, have burn. Some of them have decay. Some of them have, I don't think any of them have shape-shifting, and then devouring. So devouring is used by Caramel. He's a demon, and he's the first map fight. So when he hits you for devouring, he starts taking away chunks of your life. So you want to have the immunity to devouring to keep that from happening. When you get your hero high enough, it won't matter, because you'll be able to kill Caramel in like the first round, and so even if he does do a small devour, you'll still be able to thrash him. very easily. Burn, you're probably going to use forever. I know I still use it, but I use a different type of burn rune. I'll show you that in a bit. Decay and corruption. Where's the corruption one? There's also a corruption skill. I guess I don't have any immunity to corruption. Oh, no, that's constructs. All right, so but decay, corruption, and devouring. So let's go back to the heroes. Let me show you. Where's Caramel? All right, so Caramel devours an enemy. Okay, so he hits you with devouring, which is why you would want to use that rule. The second one is Tin Knight. I don't have Tin Knight, so I can't show you his, but he doesn't really do any of that, although you will see. And then you have Cyril. Where's Cyril? Here, Cyril. Okay, so then you have Cyril. Let's see. Why did I want to show you? Oh, the Cyril fight, I didn't want to show you that. I wanted to show you... oh, here, let me show you this guy. He has... This is Decay. Decreases an enemy's attack by 75%, so that's Decay. And then... Who am I looking for? Eridol. There he is. So this guy, Eltor, is one of the bosses, or the minions of one of the big bosses, and so he deals this, and this is Corruption. Okay, so he does an attack called Corruption, right? And you can see here he's got the Hatred of Demons, so if I was to put the Demon Hatred rune on him, it wouldn't stack, so it doesn't really do anything. But the Hatred runes, you can see, does a 30% increased damage against whatever race you have there. Okay, so Corruption starts eliminating the Wisdom. So having the anti-corruption rune on there would be helpful for that. And then, oh, here we go. Razel. Razel has decreases the enemy's defense. Okay, that one is I don't know, one of the other runes that protects it against. And so having those types of runes on there will help you out. So now, if we look at Void, I thought I had... Oh, Hexproof, yeah. So Hexproof here, and what does Hexproof do? Well, it's immunity to debuffs, decay, corruption, burn. Maybe not burn. Not burn, but shape-shifting, corruption, decay, all of those other runes that I showed you. That gets rid of all of those. Okay, so that's why having Hexproof is good for Green Void. Okay, and your main hitter. I only have one Hexproof rune. You know, I stopped doing rune weeks when I stopped playing for a while, but after almost 2 years I've only had one. And then here's one of the other types of runes that you will get to eventually. These pyromancer runes, they all have the immunity against burn damage, but then they have a secondary ability, which is why these ones are good for to combine two different ones. So I can raise his own magical damage by 35% and give him immunity to burn. Okay, so let's see. Let me go back to... Let's see, what do I got over here? Alright, so these are layer runes. Adds class as Sage. I've been toying with these, but I haven't really done a whole lot. Adds Night. I haven't done a whole lot with these yet. They are really good, but again, I haven't done a lot with them. Here's that immunity debuffs, and then this is reactive. Since this guy is a Oh, he doesn't have defender. He has. So if you put defender on this guy and have the fortitude on there, then he would take all the hits, and then this would be helpful. It's kind of like Ophaniel. That's what Ophaniel does, somewhat. But his is like an 8% chance, where that rune is an 8% chance, as opposed to Ophaniel's being 100% chance. And it's 25% instead of 10%. Okay, so he's got defender on him, so that's helpful for him. And then again for him, I have his own damage by 25, but I have that immunity to burn, and then immunity against debuffs, and then immunity against devouring. Alright, so let me go back and find... here it is. Alright, so other runes. Yeah, so anyway, shape-shifting, immunity, decay. That was the one I couldn't remember. Decay, and then devouring and corruption. Alright, and so down here, these are other runes that you can get. These are debuff runes. This curses a random enemy, but only reactive, so when he gets hit, and there's only an 8% chance that he does that. Okay? And then cursed enemies can no longer use their abilities. Summons a skeleton bodyguard. I don't use any of those at all. This is that rune of growth that I do use. It's not a debuff, it's a buff, but it's 8%. And I don't believe it stacks with Ophaniel's. But even if it does, 10%, you could use a better rune in there. This is actually pretty good. Rune of Healing. Restores a fixed number of HP. I put those on my Titans so that when they get hit, because they have Fortitude and Defender, then they have a chance of healing themselves and other people. Decreases the other opponent to random enemies by 25% on those stats. Decreases base stats of 2 random enemies by that. Reactive again, based off of your own wisdom. Raise the stats of all allies by 5%. Raises attack for 3 random allies by 7.5. Defense, wisdom, and agility. Okay. Alright, so those are those, and then we get down to a lot of the special runes. Okay, so we have these rings. The rings, the hunter's rings. So you get these mainly from the star event in April, I believe it is. Deals massive attack to a random humanoid with a power of 300. Now there's a lot of these different rings, okay? So there's a ring for each. So you can see the colors of the jewel here. So this one's attack. I think that's attack. Blue is attack, right? So you can see that, first of all, it switches between them. This is dragon. That one's sphinx. And that one's humanoid. So there's one for each of the different races. And then there's one for each of the different attack-based damage. So, or the base damage. So this is an agility. This one's attack. There's a wisdom-based one, and then there's also I can't think. Maybe there's only 3, but I thought there was a 4th one. So then there's lots of these different rings that do the different things. Okay, and then these are these runes you get from attacking different special fights. From I don't know if they're, nope, that's not them. Units, loot, bottles, here, equipment. Let's just go to all. I'll scroll down here a bit. Sorry. Here. From these fights. So, Fiery Eye summons Ina. but here, these are the ones that we're really talking about. So cow horns, tiger, stone fury, carrot, dark blood, fire spark, earring, oiler. So these ones here summon special bosses, and then those special bosses drop those other runes. And so one of these days I will get around to making my crafting videos, and I'll show you all of that. You mainly want to fight these to get these special runes. So far, the best ones that I've found are in the fire spark ones, and then I believe these are the diamonds. Those are some pretty nice ones. And then I'm not sure where the other ones are. Oh, there's a new one that just came out that I haven't worked on yet, but they seem to have some pretty good ones as well. Maybe I'll do a video on that too. Eventually, maybe I'll just show you a fight on each of these so that I can show you what all of those are. But not right now. It looks like I could do Oiler, but I won't do that right now. But I will show you each of those so that I can show you what those fights are. And these items right here that you need to, or these items, not that one comes from levels, but these items here, they come from fighting Ina, and Ina is from these fiery eyes. They're expensive though, because you have to have these angelic essences, which come from fighting Cyril. Okay. So that's where those come from. The cursed scrolls, they also drop certain bosses, and then you get runes from them. This ice horn, I'm gonna do. That's the next video I'm gonna do here. But you could get. This is where you get these drones. This is where you get those rings from fighting these drones. And then you have these totems, which lead to other things too. So those are the special fights that get you cool runes. Alright, and so that's what those are. Now these, I believe these ones are from Halloween week, or I'm sorry, Vegetable week. So these ones come from Vegetable week. And again, they're hatred, 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 and then some allies, right? And so, but during that, you can also get some of the cooler runes like Defender, Sneak. You can get those, but the problem with those is that they're only 90% as opposed to the main ones that are 100% effective. And then here's some of the pyromancer runes, and so they each come with 2. They all come with the immunity to burn, but then they also give you this secondary one. And the one that I found most effective, especially for Kultazar, oh, I don't have it. I guess I need to find that then. Is it basically it gives him burn, so he'll shoot other people when he's on your team. He'll shoot other people and do burn, taking away 70%, kind of like what Dradar does right here. Enemy attacks an enemy and burns 70% of their HP. Alright, and so this is the mechanics rune, so they also have the same thing. There's a lot of construct decks going on right now, especially with Oxyoid, the DD hero, Dragon Draft hero, and they're pretty good. On server 12, I know some of the guys have these mechanics runes, and they are making really cool construct decks. And like with Necro faces Mage, they'll turn him into a construct and a construct and give him these really cool right here. Yeah. Let's see, what are these ones? Rune of the Goblins. Oh, so these are from layers also. The Goblin layer. I wasn't in a clan with goblins for very long. Human layers give you different classes, and then the better ones, or so those are the epics, and then you have these ones here that give you different stats and stuff. If you raises all the stats of all knights by 30%, as long as you have one undead, or if your enemy has that and you have 3 knights. So they're kind of nichey, which is why I haven't used them yet. But then you come down here and destroys 3 allies that have the passive ability of silence. So there is a deck for that sort of thing. Raises his own wisdom by 20. So they all do different things. Then you get into these elves ones. These ones I've tinkered with a little bit more, but not a whole lot. But the most important one is this one. Okay, so destroys 3 allies that have the ability, passive ability of rage. And so rage is one of these ones that you get up here from the Black Knight, from your Rune Week chests. And what happens is when your guys have rage on them, you use this rage killer to kill them, so that Kulazar then reses them back every turn. And just they keep dying, they keep coming back, they keep doing their little cycle every turn, which then gives you super buffs. That is going to be very helpful in more in-game stuff. I'm not to an in-game deck yet, but I've tinkered with it, and I haven't quite perfected it yet because I keep killing the wrong people, and then, you know, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. I think I have a kind of an idea on how to do it now, but I just really haven't tinkered with it because I don't really play on Server 5 anymore. You know, eventually, maybe if Server 12 ever gets any of the layers, then I will try for some of this stuff. Okay? Alright, so those are some of the runes. Those are some of the obscure runes. I hope that answered your question on that. If you do have questions, leave the questions below. Go ahead and like the video, and whatever the other thing is that you're supposed... Oh, like and comment below so that I get more views. I am not a YouTube elite guy. I still don't really know how all this stuff really works, but this is what I was told to say. And God bless you, and have a happy Thanksgiving, because it's Thanksgiving today. Good day.